Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another DC Multiverse McFarlane Toys unboxing and review video. Now today we are going to be taking a look at my first ever statue from the line. It's 1/6 scale, and it's the Batman. Now I personally absolutely adore this movie, so I had to pick this up. Now I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is of course in the description below. They have 12-month installment plans and an awesome reward system. Now this particular version of the statue is done in the red and black aesthetic, just like the artwork from Jim Lee from DC Fandom. But there are a couple of different versions, including a Riddler 1/6 scale statue. If you are looking forward to seeing more The Batman content, make sure you're hitting that subscribe and bell notification icon so you're notified as soon as the next review goes live on the channel. What we are going to do now though is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. Here of course we have the box art, and it's pretty much an upsized multiverse box, so we kind of know exactly what to expect. An open window showcasing the statue inside, the Batman down below. I still love that fiery red logo. Gold label up top because this particular version of the statue is a variant. The Batman on the side with Jim Lee's artwork in the background, and then an even bigger image of said artwork. I absolutely love this picture. I have it in poster format, I have it on a t-shirt, and finally I have it shrunk down to 1/6 scale. But we're not really here to dissect the box, so here we have the Batman. Now I will be removing him from the clam tray, don't worry, it's just that his cape is tucked through it, so it's going to be quite cumbersome to do on camera. Down below though you have a display base, a couple of clip pieces and a trading card. Plus the entire inside of the box is printed with Jim Lee's artwork. But that's not the last you'll see of it. You also get an absolutely stunning, very thick, high-quality piece of cardstock with the background printed on it. You'll notice Batman is missing. That's because you place the statue in front of this, and then it should recreate the look of Jim Lee's artwork. On the back you do have a massive Batman logo. What we are going to do now though is get all of Batman's accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Here we have all the parts and pieces. Well, that's not entirely true. We do have the backdrop, and don't worry, you'll see it behind the statue a little bit later in the video. Now, starting off with the display base first, I thought this thing was going to feel really cheap and nasty. I thought it was going to be a super flimsy piece of hollow plastic, but it isn't. There's surprisingly some weight here. Up top there is a ton of texture sculpted into the brickwork, and that's probably not the last time I'm going to say that there's texture here, because the statue is covered in it. It is, however, devoid of paint applications, except for the front gargoyle. You do have a couple of red highlights that will match the Batman statue quite well. You also have a foot peg at the front and back, so you can peg Batman into place. You do get a trading card with Jim Lee's artwork and then an image of the bat symbol as well as the Batman printed on the backside. It's a simple but very classy card. What we are going to do now though is get the Batman himself out here and take a closer look. Here we have him, standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Not that that really matters anyway, because he's a statue, he can't pose, and he doesn't come with any accessories. Nevertheless, this guy is awesome. He cuts a mean silhouette, the red and black color scheme work perfectly. It's literally like I'm looking at a 3D representation of Jim Lee's artwork, which is what I was hoping for going in. Now, it's not perfect, and we do have a couple of things to discuss, but for the most part, I am very happy. Now, you'll notice I'm shooting him from below. That's because I think it's his best angle. place this guy on a high shelf, trust me, you'll thank me later. He looks super menacing, looking down on you, like he's standing on top of a rooftop. What we are going to do now, though, is take him off the rotating turntable, punch in, and take a closer look at the details. Here we have him, up close and personal. Now, going into this, I didn't really know what to expect. This is my first 1/6 scale statue by McFarlane Toys and at this price point, so I didn't know if this was going to come across cheap. I'm pleased to report that, to me at least, it doesn't. It feels and looks suitably high quality. Now let's be honest, this isn't going to be anyone's main Batman in the display. It might be 1/6 scale and it might look pretty cool, but the red and black color scheme is going to turn a lot of people off. The reason I picked this up is because I really like Jim Lee's artwork and I wanted it represented in 3D in my display. There's only one test that still remains, and that's to see if this guy is actually 1/6 scale, and we'll do some comparisons in just a second. Now let's start off with the head sculpt. Seeing as it does have all of this red cell shading over the top, it's kind of hard to say whether or not this is a dead ringer for Robert Pattinson in the cowl. But as for the cowl itself, there is a ton of texture here, and all of the stitching, at least around the back, is picked out in red paint. Say what you will about the way this guy looks with the stylized paint applications. It has an aesthetic that it was aiming for, and it just goes for it. I personally really like the way this turned out, but if it's not for you, then yes, I totally understand. Now, around the back, he does have a massive pre-posed rubbery plastic cape. There is a ton of leather-like texture on the surface, and the red cell shading is only around the edges. That's because it kind of can wrap around him, and by all means, I'm going to heat this up and then force it to kind of sit at that angle right there, so I see a little bit more of this red on display. It also comes around the front and tucks into this chest plate just like it did in the movie. There's also a ton of texture around his neck and collar section, and then the chest plate itself does have the bat symbol of sorts embedded into the top. Now it is just done in a flat black plastic. I'm totally fine with that because they have the aesthetic in mind that they're going for, and they decided to, for artistic purposes, leave it unpainted. Now, on the regular version with the skin tone mouth plate and all of the regular colouring, I am hoping that there are a couple of chips and scratches here and there on the chest plate plus on the bat symbol. We'll have to wait and see though when I get that version in hand. It isn't removable though, it is fixed in place. There is a ton more of this red cross-hatching and shading work all the way throughout, coming down to the arms. Now, interestingly enough, the arms actually do have some articulation. I'm not exactly sure what you can achieve with this, but they can move forward and back, and that is on both sides. You can also swivel the hands left and right. Now, I'm pretty sure the regular version does come with the chest symbol in his hand, but unfortunately this particular version just comes with two open palm hands. It's accurate to Jim Lee's artwork though, so I personally am perfectly fine with it. I love the red highlights, and there is a ton of texture on the inside of his gloves. Now, coming down to the belt, it is fully detailed and it does look accurate to the film. You also have the holster with his sticky bomb gun on the side, although the gun actually just looks like a normal gun, which isn't super accurate, nor is the shape of the holster itself. Now, for some reason, only one leg has the red shading on this thigh plate, where the other is just left completely blank. In fact, there is no red shading on the right leg at all. But I guess it's highlighting this leg because it's perched up on top of the gargoyle, and you'll see that again when he's back on his base. Coming down to his boots, once again, the T word, texture. There is a ton of it here. He also has a fully detailed sole underneath his boot, which is completely unnecessary because you are never going to see that. Overall, as simple as this piece is, it's a really nice representation in 1/6 scale of a particular artistic representation of the Batman pretty soon after it's been released, which doesn't happen very often. Now, if you are wondering what Batman looks like in front of the included backdrop, well, here it is. Now, I am partial to this. I really like the way it looks. The red, though, is a different shade between the statue and the backdrop. For me, that's a good thing. I prefer the backdrop to be a little bit darker so it makes Batman pop. If they were the same color, it might blend in a little bit too much, if that makes sense. However, if you are looking for a 3D representation of Jim Lee's artwork, then I'm pretty sure this is on the money. Now for a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have the third-party SL Custom Bruce Wayne as our 1/6 scale point of reference. Now because the Batman statue is kind of crunched down and hunched over on his display base, I have raised him up to eye level. Now, honestly, he is a little bit small. However, in the display, if you are playing with the levels and you have him on a riser in the background, it's going to be unnoticeable. I think this works perfectly. I am very keen to get in their Riddler statue because he's standing straight up and down. That'll give me a better idea as to the scale when I place him alongside this Bruce Wayne. But for now, if this scale doesn't work for you, I totally understand. But for me, I'm perfectly happy to place these two together in the display. Just wrapping up on the McFarlane Toys The Batman statue based off Jim Lee's artwork. Now I told y'all earlier on, I had no idea what to expect, but at the end of the video, I can honestly say, go out and get this guy. If you're a fan of Jim Lee's artwork, of course, and a fan of the Batman movie, this pretty much captures the essence of both of those things perfectly. It's a shrunk down version of the pose that the Prime 1 statue is in, and no, it's not of comparable quality to the 1/3 scale piece. However, it's still really decent in its own right. It gets away with a lot because of the style they decided to go with. You don't have to worry about realistic skin tones or the way the eyes are painted or the detail on the outfit. The sculpted in texture does most of the talking, and it does it very well. Plus, the red highlights do pop against the black of the rest of the suit, and the awesome included backdrop. If you were to pick up only one statue from the line to represent this movie, you could do a lot worse than this guy. I think the sculpt is on point, I like the pose, plus you do get a teeny amount of articulation. The backdrop is a nice touch, and it captures the look of all of the marketing with the red and black. As soon as you look at this guy, or anyone else does, they'll know exactly which film version of Batman this guy is meant to represent. Now, as I said at the intro, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They have 12-month installment plans and an awesome reward system. While you're down there, check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection. And of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.